We have a very nice day. Outside the window, the sun is shining. It is warm, although we only have 12 Celsius today. It is not as hot as it has been recently. Here we are back together again. It is lovely to see you on this sunny Sunday. English Addict is back, coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language. We all know where it is. I know where it is. And I have a feeling you know where it is. Of course, it is England. We are back. We are back together again. It's so nice to see you here once more. Hi, everybody. Hi. This is Mr. Duncan. That's me, by the way, with my rather bad throat. I don't know what is happening at the moment. I am suffering with hay fever over the past couple of days. It's been really bad, to the point where I've been sneezing a lot. That's all I'm going to say. Please don't be too surprised if I sneeze during today's live stream. I don't know what is happening because I don't normally get hay fever until the end of May. It is strange, although we have had some amazing weather, so I have a feeling maybe a lot of the pollen has appeared early because everything has been so nice here in England. My name is Duncan. It still is, by the way. It hasn't changed. And I talk about the English language. You might say that I am one of those English addicts, and I really do hope. I hope you have a smile on your face today. I might also need your support, maybe, if my voice stops working. What will I do? What will happen? Fortunately, I have plenty of water next to me to keep me company, just in case my throat needs some lubrication. Oh, Mr. Duncan, there's an interesting word. To make something run smoothly, you need lubrication. Quite often we will put oil on machinery so it runs smoothly without any friction or heat. Ooh, lubrication. I like that word. Nice to see you all here today. We have a busy show. By the way, if you like nature, you are in for a big treat. Not one, but two surprises concerning nature. More to the point, nature near my house. In fact, very near. All of that coming a little bit later on. Of course, he is with us today. We have the one, the only. You know who I'm talking about. Of course, it is Mr. Steve. He will be with us today. I wasn't sure if Steve was here today. I wasn't sure because he didn't seem very sure last week. Fortunately, we do have Mr. Steve coming up later. He was having a wonderful time yesterday because of the lovely weather. Steve has now started doing those small jobs around the garden. In fact, yesterday, would you like to see what Steve was doing yesterday? Hopefully I can find the video. Oh, yes. Here is Mr. Steve yesterday. He was making sure his lawnmower is working completely and 100%. He's checking the oil in his lawnmower. In fact, I think he was actually changing the oil yesterday. And then he went into the garden to cut the grass. And as you know, if you have been watching my live streams for a long time, you will know that Steve always gets excited when the nice weather arrives. He does like to go into the garden. Mr. Steve loves doing a little bit of gardening, especially at this time of year, as most people go into the garden to start all of those important chores after the winter season has said goodbye. We will be talking to Mr. Steve at around about 2:30. He will be here today. I hope you are having a good Sunday. We have the 13th of April. Next Sunday, I suppose I should mention right now, next Sunday we have Easter. Easter Sunday. Next Sunday. Of course, the big question is, how big will my Easter egg be? Will it be a tiny Easter egg, or will it be a huge Easter egg? I'm hoping it will be the second one. I really do hope my Easter egg next week will be very big. We had the most glorious evening last night. Would you like to share the evening that I had last night? Look at that. So there was the weather last night. It was absolutely glorious. I don't know what it is, but sometimes you can have the most wonderful evenings where everything seems perfect. And I have to say, last night the weather was absolutely wonderful. We had the most glorious spring evening. Of course, at this time of year, there is always some confusion because some people still think it's springtime and some people say it is summer. I wonder which one it is. Is it spring or summer at the moment? I've heard people arguing about whether or not we can say that it is summertime or still spring. Now, I think technically it's still spring. I don't think summer normally arrives until the end of May, or at least towards the end of May. But a lot of people are saying it is already summertime. It certainly feels like it. I have to say, we have been really blessed with the weather over the past few days, although it does look as if we might be getting some rain later on today and for the rest of the week. Oh, by the way, have you seen my new lessons? I have been so busy with my new English lessons. There are so many coming from my YouTube channel. In fact, if you check out my channel, you will find there is a playlist of all my most recent lessons. Lots and lots of things appearing on my YouTube channel over the next few days. So please look out for that. I want to show you something, but I think I might wait for a few moments. First of all, I will say hello to the live chat. Hello, live chat. It is nice to have you here today with my voice, which I'm sorry to say is not working very well. I am suffering at the moment from hay fever. It's awful. It's very annoying. So there is always a good side and a bad side to the weather. I feel as if my throat needs a lot of soothing today. So please bear with me. At least I have Mr. Steve to help me, even though he has also been suffering a little bit with hay fever. The problem is it attacks your eyes, your nose, and your throat. So if you are like me, if you suffer with hay fever, it can be something that becomes very annoying. Can I say hello to... Oh, it looks as if... is this true? Excuse me. I think I might have to have a lie down. Goodness me. That might be the first time that's ever happened on my live stream, where I've literally had to stop. Very strange. I haven't said much this morning. I will be honest with you. I haven't actually said much. I haven't talked much today. And it is a bit of a shock to find that my throat has been very much affected by the hay fever. It looks as if Beatrice is first on the live chat. Hello Beatrice, and also Vitas. You kind of arrived at the same time, so I will give both of you a round of applause. Very strange moment of time that was. I don't think I've ever done that before. I don't think I've ever struggled to actually get words out on my live chat, to be honest. Hello also Claudia. Hello Claudia. I hope you are not sneezing today, because I have been doing that quite a lot. Hello Anas. Also we have... Who else is here? Oh, he is here, everyone. Definitely. There is no doubt about it. We have Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. I am hanging on. I am. I don't like hay fever. I don't like this period of time when my body goes a little bit crazy. Svetlana is here. Hello, Svetlana Rokina. And also Cap Ann is here as well. Maruzio is here today. By the way, for those wondering, yes, we are still going ahead with the big rendezvous. For those wondering, it is happening. We will be meeting up in Paris, if I'm still alive. Hopefully I will be. We are meeting up in Paris, and the big rendezvous will be taking place on the 1st of June. is still time for you to join the Paris Rendezvous, so don't worry if you have not got in touch with me. You can. Don't worry about it. There is still plenty of time. There is plenty of time for you to get in touch. English Addict is with you today with myself. Now, can I just point out that I don't have any illness. I don't have a fever. I don't have a cold, but I do have my little seasonal allergy where everything goes up my nose and causes problems. But I am okay. I'm not ill as such. It is just something that I would describe as an annoyance. When we say that something is an annoyance, it is something that is irritating, annoying. That particular thing can be described as an annoyance. It's an interesting word, but I'm not ill as such. We have Mr. Steve coming soon. I have to say I will be very pleased to have Mr. Steve here today because I might need some support, to be honest with you. Although, having said that, unusually, Mr. Steve has also been suffering with a little bit of hay fever as well, which is very strange, very unusual for him. Talking of which, yes, we do have Mr. Steve with us in a few moments from now. You know, I like to show words. I like to show you words and phrases. Yes, we will be playing the big game later on, by the way. Guess the picture idiom. We will be doing that. Also, we have today's subject. I thought we would talk about something that is often discussed on the news and in the media generally. Waste. Waste. The way we waste things. To waste something. There are many uses, many ways of looking at that particular thing. All of that coming up later on. As I just mentioned, I love words. And here's an interesting word that I've heard used recently by one or two political commentators. The word is dogma. Oh, Mr. Duncan, does it have anything to do with dogs? Well, I can safely say the word dogma has nothing to do with dogs whatsoever. Dogma is a noun. It is an official system of principles or tenets concerning faith, morals, behaviour, and so on. For example, those of the church. So we often see dogma as maybe a set of rules or principles that are put forward by a certain group or organisation. Dogma, quite often something that is accepted as being part of that particular thing. Normally in the form of rules, things that have been laid down as rules. We might also say it is prescribed doctrine, proclaimed as unquestionably true by a particular group. So again, when we look at dogma, we are talking about rules, things that are put forward. Also, it is something that generally is accepted by a group of people as well. A settled or established opinion, belief, or principle is often referred to as dogma. Interestingly enough, nothing to do with dogs. Isn't that amazing? Dogmatic is the adjective form of the word. So if you are holding dogma as one's belief or direction, we can say that person is dogmatic. They will often follow rules or principles as their guide in life. And this, of course, can refer to many things, not only religion, but it can be anyone's principles, anything, or their direction, the direction of a person, how they see themselves, and the rules that bind their existence or life. So it can also exist, I suppose, in politics as well. You can have dogma in politics. A person can be dogmatic with their principles. And the word originates, by the way, for those wondering, the word dogma originates from Greek to mean what seems good, or the way to think. So dogma itself is just way of thinking, what appears to be the best way to think. And that is how that particular word evolved over the years. I think it was the 1500s when it first started becoming regularly used, which I think also coincides with the rise of religious belief in certain parts of the world as well. So there it is, today's interesting word, dogma. And as I said, it has absolutely nothing at all to do with dogs. Mr. Steve will be with us in a little while. We have two big surprises today, two super duper surprises coming your way, both of them concerning animals. Talking of animals, that's very unfair, Mr. Duncan. You should not say those things. He's lovely. Yes, he is. Mr. Steve will be with us in a few moments from now. We have Steve coming up. We are talking about waste. We are looking at Mr. Steve's lawnmower. And I have a feeling Mr. Steve will have something to tell us as well. I would not be at all surprised. All of that coming up in a few moments from now. Please don't go away. This is English Addict on a Sunday afternoon, and the sun is shining.
I'm a big boy now.
English Addict is with you today. I hope you are having a good day so far. Things aren't too bad here, and I have a feeling they are about to get much better. Sunday. It is Sunday afternoon. It's myself, Mr. Duncan, and of course, a lot of people. I always notice that a lot of people tune in just as this particular thing happens. He has been busy. He was busy this morning in the garden. He was in the garden yesterday. He was doing some tinkering with his lawnmower. We might talk about that in a couple of moments from now. He is here. Yes, it is the one, the only. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mr. Steve.
Hello, good afternoon. Well, it's good afternoon for some of you. It may be good evening for others. But yes, it's a lovely day, Mr. Duncan. It's perfect gardening weather. Hello to all you wonderful viewers from across the globe, I have to say that. But yes, I noticed you've been talking about gardening. It is perfect gardening weather. The sun it's cloudy, so there isn't direct sun, but it's not too hot. It's perfect. Spring is here. Get some weeding done. I've been killing off weeds this morning. And as you pointed out, I've been doing some maintenance on the lawnmower.
Yes,
which I love to do.
And I was watching you doing it as well yesterday. Here is Mr. Steve doing his lawn mower maintenance yesterday. Tinkering. Mr. Steve was tinkering. I love that expression. If you tinker with something, you are either servicing it or repairing it. You are doing something to it. So what are you doing there, Steve?
Well, I had just changed the oil.
Ooh.
This was an annual oil change, which is always a good idea if you want to keep your lawnmower engine in good condition. So I was checking the level. So I was using a syringe. Looked like I was operating on a patient or giving the the lawnmower a vaccine. In fact, I was using a plunger, using a big syringe to put the oil into the machine because it's quite difficult to get the oil in. There's only one little place the oil comes in and out of on this particular lawnmower.
Yes.
So to avoid a mess, I use that big old syringe.
Yes, it looks like a plunger.
Yes, it's a syringe. So I use that. I've used it for a number of years. And
I'm just wondering now what else you use it for.
Nothing else, Mr. Duncan.
Anything else?
400 millilitres of oil is required to go into the machine. I've changed the spark plug.
Ooh.
And I've ordered some new parts. I've ordered a new air filter for it, and also a new blade underneath, because my blade is probably 10 years old. I keep sharpening it, but it's a bit unbalanced. So I want a brand new blade.
It's not the only
nice
thing.
Sharp blade. so that it slices through the grass with
Okay.
maximum efficiency.
It's not the only unbalanced thing around here, I have to say. Oh, can I just say something? I don't normally give rounds of applause to machinery, but can we give a round of applause to Mr. Steve's lawnmower? Because you bought that many years ago. You bought that many years ago, but I remember when you went to the shop to look at all of the wonderful lawnmowers that were on sale, and there were some cheap ones and there were some very expensive ones, and you bought the cheap one of the cheaper ones. And I suppose when we do that sort of thing, we often think that something that is cheap is also not good quality. But we've proved that that isn't true, haven't we?
Yes, well, I didn't want a big, heavy... See, the blade isn't that big, but I didn't want a big, heavy machine because our garden is very hilly, lots of twists and turns, and the last thing you want is a big, heavy machine. So it's very lightweight, but it's self-propelled, so I don't have to push it. It moves on its own. But it was I got it in a sale. And it's done a perfect job.
Well, you've had it now for nearly 13 years.
Yes, that's right. Yes, exactly. But I think maintenance, like anything, like your car, if you maintain it, it will last a long time. Particularly changing the oil.
Yeah, I always think that is always a good tip, because this happens a lot. And I remember recently we were driving, I think it was when we were going to Harrogate or coming back from Harrogate, but we saw a lot of cars on the side of the road that had broken down. And this is something you often see, especially at certain times of the year when lots of people are suddenly out on the road driving. So perhaps normally, Steve, they don't drive for many miles. But during the nice weather, they are suddenly out on the road. And you've said to me in the past, quite often, people will not look after their car or service the car regularly. So when they try to use the car, it will stop working. And that's one of the reasons why if you see lots of people going away at the same time, you will often find lots and lots of cars on the side of the road that have broken down.
Well, I mean, I've got friends. I mean, I understand not everybody wants to spend money on their cars, but it depends whether you're going to keep the car for a long time. The car or the engine. I mean, Lewis being obviously drove for a living. I would imagine he used to maintain his cars very well, because if you don't, they eventually will break down. I mean, you can leave the oil for 5 years, but eventually
in a car,
the car will, a lot of people think, what is it with oil? Why do I need to change oil? Oil is oil. I mean, it looks the same when it comes out as when it went in, but it'll be darker. But when oil is sort of starts to get old after a year or so, it doesn't lubricate the engine in the same way.
Yes, that's the word. By the way, that's the word I used at the start.
Lubricate.
At the start of today's live stream. Lubrication, you see, to make everything move and slide around freely. But back to cars. I think it is a thing that a lot of people feel as if they are saving money. But I think if you don't service your car and then you try to use it over a long distance, you might find the car won't work properly, or it might even break down. So there is a type of what I like to call false economy. False economy is where you believe that you are saving money, or maybe you are keeping some money safe. But in the future, you might actually have to spend even more money on the thing that you didn't do. And I think that often happens with people with their motor cars, that they might have a little bit of a false economy where they believe they're saving money, but in the future, if they damage their car too much, and Steve will tell us all about this, there are many things that can go wrong with your car that then will cost you a lot of money.
It depends, you see. If you're only doing lots of short distances, then you probably are reluctant to go to a garage and spend £200, £250, £300 a year for them just to change the oil for you, because they do charge a lot of money.
Yes.
Essentially, it's but yes, it's when you start then to go on a long trip that you suddenly discover that the engine overheats because some of the hoses have perished or something. But yeah, I mean, Lewis says here he used to do all the mechanical work on his own car. So I'm thinking changing the oil, filters, that sort of thing, which you can. I used to do that when I used to have my own cars, because when I was younger, it was expensive to go to a garage. So that's why I learnt how to do it. But I only do the basic things. So I used to clean the carburetors when we had carburetors in cars.
So the carburetor, I think it's interesting just to mention that's the air intake.
Yeah, the carburetor. Yeah, that's the bit that mixes the air with the fuel.
Yes.
And that needs. But nowadays it's fuel injection, so it's the maintenance is a lot less. But I used to do the basic things: change the oil, filters, spark plugs, timing, clean the car, those basic things. But when it came to, for example, if I had to change a water pump, I wouldn't know what to do.
No.
Or or an exhaust system, I would go to a garage for that, because you need to have a ramp. You need to be able to get underneath the car to do certain things.
Well, I always find the most interesting part of a car is the part you can't see. And by that I mean the underneath. So if you've ever looked underneath a car, it's incredibly complex. It's very easy to forget of all of that stuff that's going on underneath a car. So if you ever get the chance to look under your car, it is a very weird experience.
Yeah, so I only do basic things.
It's a bit like looking at an X-ray of your body. You see things that you've never seen before.
And by the way, that lawnmower, it just takes petrol. You don't have to mix any oil with the petrol. It's a 4-stroke engine. It's the 2-stroke engines that you have to mix oil, and they're very smelly. So this is a proper engine that you just put gasoline in, or as we call it, petrol.
That's it. So if you put petrol in a lawnmower, you can use it freely around the garden. Of course, nowadays, I think more and more people, of course, Steve, are going towards electric. So you can get electric lawnmowers, but I always think...
Yeah, they're very good.
Oh, really?
Electric lawnmowers are very good. So I would definitely get an electric one now, because they, in the last 10 years, they've got a lot better. They're a lot more powerful. They're cleaner, of course, because you're not breathing all the fumes. They're not so noisy.
What about the amount of time?
Yeah, it'll take the same amount of time. It won't take any less time.
No, I meant for the battery.
Oh yeah, the battery. I think they come with 2 batteries. I mean, I need an hour to 40 minutes to mow our lawn. I think most of them will last that long easily now. They didn't used to.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yes.
So when that goes wrong, I'll definitely switch to an electric one, because it battery operated, not one with a cable.
No.
Because that's annoying, having to keep moving the cable.
I always... Because you still see the occasional person using the lawnmower with the wire that goes all the way into the house. And I always... my fear, of course, would be going over the cable and cutting it.
Well, it's very easy to do. Probably it's working, so they don't want to change it and spend money on a new one. But my parents used to have an electric one with a cable, and it was very annoying to use. You were constantly having to move the cable around, and I did go over the cable once, and you get this light. It sets all the things off in the house with your fuses. It's dangerous.
Well, as long as you're not electrocuted, I suppose. But back to what we were talking about, just lots of cars on the road. What would you say? Because you may not realise this, but I have mentioned this before. Steve does know a lot about cars.
Well,
what about generally types of car that are more likely to break down? Because is there a certain type of car, would you say, from your own opinion?
Well, certainly older cars
Yes.
are more likely to break down. Cars that aren't. I mean, there are certain makes that there are certain makes of car that are. You can read the reliability records of all the cars. Lots of these consumer magazines like Which or a lot of the car magazines. Look at data, ask people to send in data about their cars, and it's very readily available that you can look up all the different makes and find out which one is more reliable. Generally, the Japanese cars tend to be the more reliable ones.
Yes, well, they're the biggest sellers, aren't they, in the world? I think now Japanese cars they outnumber all the other cars.
I think most people know that they tend to be the most reliable, and then the least reliable, I think, is quite often is Range Rover and Land Rover cars are often the most unreliable,
which just happen to be the cars that we make.
And I'm afraid that cars from Italy tend to have a bad reputation for reliability in the UK.
I didn't say that. Steve said that. So what?
Alfa Romero used to have a very bad reputation. In fact, it was so bad they wouldn't let you have them as company cars.
Goodness me.
And French cars tended to be a bit unreliable as well, but not so much now. The worst one, I think, is still. I think Skoda comes out very well, usually in reliability as well.
Where are they made?
Skoda. Well, they're actually essentially Volkswagens.
So they're German.
Well, they're Czechoslovakian, aren't they?
I see.
Skoda.
Sorry, beg your pardon.
But they are actually made from German cars, so they're underpinnings, as we say, what they're made from.
See what you said the other, because we were talking the other night about industry in this country, and because at the moment a lot of people are talking about the steel industry. And
yes.
Maybe not many people realise, but we used to be a big producer of steel in the past.
We used to be the world's biggest producer at one point.
Yeah, steel and also coal. Both of those things have almost vanished. We have one steel foundry still producing steel, just about. But of course, over the years, it has become incredibly expensive to produce steel. So we only have one place now in the whole of this country producing steel. And you were talking about other things from the past, including car makers. Now, would you say it's fair to say, Mr. Steve, that we did not produce very good cars here in the UK?
No, I mean, if you go back to the good old days of British Leyland, I say good old days, I mean it sarcastically, because see, this is what happens when governments subsidise homegrown manufacturers, which is what was happening with British Leyland. It was subsidised by the government.
Just to give some context, this is going back, I would imagine this is going back to the 1970s?
Going back to the 1970s, yes. And of course, when you're trying to get people to buy cars from your own country, and other cars coming in are very expensive. So in other words, when you've got the home market to yourself, it's very easy for standards to drop, which is what I fear will happen in America if they are going to basically force people to buy cars from America. Is that the standards will slip because the manufacturers know that they can sell any old rubbish because people are going to buy cars that are cheaper.
That is interesting.
And that's what happened in the 70s.
Yeah. Well, when you get competition, and this is something that's happened a lot, isn't it, Steve, over the years? When you have competition in any area, you often find that the standard will actually go up because everyone has to compete.
That's it.
In that market. However, if you tell people that they can only buy things from their own country, the domestic market, then there is no pressure to make those things better. So are you saying that's what happened in the UK in the 1970s?
Yes, they were rubbish, unreliable, poor quality. But of course, then to import a better quality car, for example, a Mercedes or a BMW, they were really, really expensive then because I think there were tariffs on those cars because obviously the UK government was trying to protect the home market, which was we had a huge market for cars, British Leyland, and of course in order to try and protect that market, the cars coming in from abroad had tariffs on them, and but of course all it meant was that the products that we made here were very poor quality because there was no incentive, no competition to make them better, and that's probably what's going to happen in America. But anyway, yes, but Alfa Romeo.
Think that's one of the reasons. Why I mentioned it, because it does sort of fit in with what is happening now in the world. So as we all go back to producing things in our own country, that might also see the decline of the quality of those things. So I always think that's been a good idea over the years, having a world economy, because I think you're then forcing everyone to actually improve the quality of what they sell.
Well,
so look, it might have the anyway. I don't want to talk too much about this, Steve.
I was going to say quality of products. I mean, from China used to be very poor, but the quality now is excellent. And I cannot see how America is going to be able to make such high quality products at such cheap prices.
Yes, because you've got the Chinese electric car BYD. They are now everywhere being marketed here in the UK. I've seen a few of them.
If
you've seen a few of them.
Well, that's a whole different debate, isn't it? Electric cars. So we won't get into that today.
No, well, I'm not talking about electric cars. I'm talking about manufacturing generally.
Yes.
General manufacturing.
Well, that's it. You see, their products are very good.
But it is fair to say, Steve, that we did in the 1970s make terrible cars. Not helped, by the way, by the fact that we would often go on strike as well.
Well, that was it. Of course, our best quality cars are made by the Toyota and Nissan, who have factories in the UK. And of course, those products are very high quality because they're essentially Japanese cars, aren't they?
Yes.
So we do make quite a lot of cars here, but they're not really, as you would say, they're not originally produced in the UK. They were, they're essentially by foreign companies.
Yes.
But anyway, enough of that.
It is a strange one. I always think certain types of manufacturing it becomes very complex, and I think that's what's happened as well with things like cell phones, because a cell phone is not just one thing. It's made of many different components and parts. So I think the latest rumour was that the average price for a mobile phone might go up by 40 or even 50% in some cases. But I think maybe that's all changed now because everything in the world keeps changing. Have you noticed? Mr. Steve?
Yes.
We are going to change the subject.
Good.
Because I'm going to show you something quite amazing. Now, if you've been watching recently, you will know that we've had some lovely visitors in the garden. We get lots of birds, lots of interesting animals coming in. And recently we've had a pheasant coming into the garden, and he's been very, very friendly. I've never seen such a friendly pheasant in a very long while. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? So imagine my surprise last week, Steve, when we had our little pheasant come into the garden, but also he had somebody else with him as well. Ooh. So here is the pheasant. So that is the male pheasant, and he loves eating sunflower hearts. I don't know why. He's crazy about them, and I love the little sound he makes. Listen carefully. He sounds so happy.
And he's been coming on his own, hasn't he, into the garden?
Yes, but wait, there is something even more exciting coming, because not only do we have the male coming into the garden feeding, last week he actually brought with him a girlfriend. In a moment we are going to see our lovely pheasant's girlfriend, and there she is. Now, as you can see straight away, the difference between a male pheasant and a female pheasant is it's quite stark, in fact. It's a very stark difference. By the way, Mr. Steve, put your fingers in your ears, because this pheasant is about to do its lovely big call, and the only problem is, if you are nearby, it's rather deafening. Isn't that amazing? Now, normally pheasants are quite shy creatures. They won't just come up to you normally. Normally they will run away. Here we go. Listen to this. Give us a little call, Mr. Pheasant. He's so excited.
He's just telling his girlfriend, look, I'm here.
Yes.
So yes, he's got himself a girlfriend.
Isn't that lovely?
And isn't she beautiful?
She's
what a stunner.
She's a beauty.
As we'd say. Cool, look at that, Mr. Duncan. That is one beautiful, sexy female pheasant.
Okay, Steve, calm down.
Oh, there they are together.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh,
there they are together.
Yeah, so she's much plainer.
Mm.
You know, he's designed to show off.
Yes.
To attract the female.
That is, and that is often the reason why male species of most animals. They're normally more colourful. They normally have a lot more to display. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
We love nature, don't
we? We do. Yeah, well, that's it. So we like to share it with you. And Mr. Duncan's just shared the latest excitement. We're hoping that they will return in maybe a few weeks' time with little chicks, little pheasant chicks. Wouldn't that be lovely? If they, it seems that the male pheasant has brought his girlfriend with him and wanted to show Mr. Duncan.
I think so.
I think he wanted to show Mr. Duncan his new girlfriend, and it's quite exciting. So we'll keep you appraised of the situation. Appraised.
I suppose it's worth mentioning, in this area where we live, there are many pheasants all around, and during certain times of the year they will be hunted. They will be shot and sold as meat, unfortunately. So we will be keeping a very close eye on our little friendly pheasant, just to make sure that nothing happens during the hunting season. My throat, by the way, today is really annoying. I have hay fever, early hay fever, and I don't know how it's happening, but it is happening. For some reason, I am already being affected by hay fever. Saturino wants to talk about Alfa Romeos.
Twin barrel carburettor. Yeah, well, they are fabulously. They are very exciting cars, very sporty. They've got a certain image, and most people, if you are a petrol head, there's a phrase, a petrol head, somebody that likes cars with noisy, characterful engines, and they like dashing around the countryside in their cars. A petrol head, somebody that loves cars and loves using cars to their full potential. Petrol heads love Alfa Romeos.
Yes.
I've pronounced it correct. I couldn't say Romeos earlier, but I can say it now. Yeah, they're exciting cars, but they're not so bad now. But certainly they used to have a reputation of being somewhat unreliable. But just as bad as British cars did, as well. We don't sell many in the UK anymore. We used to sell a lot, but not so many now. We don't get so many.
When you saw one, it always felt like a special occasion.
They are quite exciting. They have these offset number plates. At least in the UK they do. I don't know if they do abroad. But if you look at the front of an Alfa Romeo, the number plate isn't in the centre of the bumper. It's always off to one side. It is in the UK. I don't know if it is in other parts of the world. I think it's to do with our regulations on number plates. But if anyone knows, Saturino will know whether you get offset number plates in other parts of the world on Alphas. Anyway, this is...
my goodness, Steve.
Alexander says, I remind him of his ex-boss. That doesn't sound like a compliment.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, there isn't a smiley face after it. So anyway, there we go. Right, yes. Christina mentions that in Italy there are less people buying cars, more people are renting. I mean, this is a problem. The car industry is in a big state of flux as the world tries to force everybody into electric cars. Because they're much more expensive, people aren't buying them, so they're hanging on to their cars for longer. So the end result is that there's far less cars being sold generally, and it's a bit of a problem for the car industry.
Steve, let us not forget that cars are more reliable as well. So quite often there is no need to actually replace the car. For example, yours went in for a service recently. It does need a little bit of work doing to it, but nothing serious.
No, I need to have
you will probably be able to use that car for another 10 or 15 years.
Most modern cars now won't break a sweat to do 200,000 miles.
Incredible. Without
too much going wrong with them if you maintain them. Pedro says, would I have a Range Rover Evoque or a Discovery? I would have neither of them. One, they're not very reliable, and two, I don't like SUVs. I'm not a fan. They're I mean, I understand they're right for some people, but
yes,
really they are. Anyway, let's not go into that because I'm not going to give my opinion. But I wouldn't buy an SUV.
No. Well, everyone has their own taste, don't they, in cars, in women, in furniture, in clothing. So we all have our own little ways, as they say. Mr. Steve, we are talking about a couple of big subjects in a few moments. We are talking about waste. And I suppose this almost fits into what we were just talking about with cars, where people will dispose of their cars, although nowadays you don't need to. So waste can be used in many ways. My throat is just about to stop working again.
You don't mean waste.
Sorry?
You mean things that are disposed of.
Yes, things that are unneeded, unwanted.
So that's a homophobe, isn't it? Is that the word? Homophobe?
Yes, that's one way of putting it.
Is two words with different meanings and different spellings, but they are pronounced. They sound the same.
Yes. So
Waist.
phonically, as the sound is,
W-A-I-S-T-E,
yes.
your waist,
Hmm.
and W-A-S-T-E, stuff that you throw away.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the latter,
That's it. The second thing.
the second thing.
We could have explained that later, by the way. Anyway, we will have a little quick break because I need to do something seriously. I need to do something with my throat because it's starting to go very wrong. We'll be right back after this break. I was just making some absolutely horrendous noises then, trying to clear my throat. Oh dear. This is English Addict. Hello, good afternoon, welcome to Sunday. I hope your Sunday is going super duper. I mentioned earlier that I have two things connected to nature to show. Here is the second thing, Mr. Steve. We had a nice surprise yesterday because I can officially now reveal that we have at the back of the house sheep. They arrived yesterday. We now have sheep at the back of the house, Mr. Steve. Look, aren't they lovely? Lots and lots of sheep. They arrived yesterday afternoon, suddenly. Without any warning.
Out of the blue,
Yes.
as we say. Something arrives out of the blue. It means something comes unexpectedly and suddenly. Out of the blue,
So-
from the sky. It looks like it's just come from the blue sky.
And if you listen closely, you will be able to hear, hopefully, the sound of the sheep. Because when I filmed this, they had only been in the field for around about 20 minutes. So they were feeling rather, I think the word would be nervous. They were feeling nervous. So now we have some lovely sheep at the back of the house. We weren't sure if we were going to get any animals because last year we didn't have any. We had no animals at the back of the house. But this year we have. It is official. I can reveal that we now have sheep at the back of the house and they are settling in rather nicely. They are starting to enjoy themselves. You might be able to hear them. They were also upsetting some of the local dogs as well. I don't think the dogs like the sheep.
I think we the last time we had sheep like this, I think it will transpire.
Mm-hmm.
Transpire. It will turn out.
It will, yes. It will be revealed.
It will be revealed. It will transpire that these are all female sheep, and at some point the farmer will put a very lucky male sheep amongst them, and his role will be to fertilise them all.
Okay, Steve, we get it. You don't have to draw the diagram.
Well, I'm not. I'm just saying.
So they're going. Look, they're all running away because they were so scared. They had only just arrived in the garden, and they were a little afraid. And
I think those female sheep that have had their lambs, and I think they're going to have to have some more lambs.
yes, maybe.
Yes, Christina. No lambs with this lot. I think they've had their lambs.
Yes.
And they've been separated from their lambs.
Well, I think. See, I would not be surprised if these have not yet been. Let's just say yes. I think what you just said. So maybe they are waiting to have that procedure done to them. That's all I'm going to say.
But Saturino says we can use these sheep to mow the lawn in our garden.
Yes.
Yes, well, it would be ideal, actually, because then I would not have to make the effort of having to do this. And we've often thought, haven't we, Mr. Duncan, of maybe just cutting a little gap in the hedge, in the fence, to let a sheep or two in.
Yes.
The trouble is, they will poo everywhere, and their hooves will stick into the ground,
Yes.
and it won't be a very flat lawn.
I don't think it's a good idea to have wild animals roaming around your lawn. Although one year, I think it was a couple of years ago, we actually had a little lamb. When they had lambs at the back of the house, we had a little lamb that would come through the fence, walk around the garden. It would eat some of the grass, and then it would go back through the fence, back into the big field, which was rather funny. But anyway, we have now...
Quick thing here, Nilo asks a sheep-related question. What's the difference between a sheep, a lamb, and mutton? Well, a sheep is an adult. Is an adult.
Sheep.
That's a sheep. The lamb is the baby, and mutton is old meat. So it's an old lamb that's been killed for eating.
An old sheep.
An old sheep. Mutton is basically an adult sheep that's killed for eating, and it's very tough meat.
Yeah.
So you call it mutton.
Mature
meat. Whereas the lamb is the meat which everybody generally you don't eat. Like with a cow, you wait till the cow is grown up before you eat the meat from a cow.
Not necessarily.
Usually. Unless it's in France, where you're obviously having much younger...
Yes. Well, veal, you might be surprised to find out how many places eat veal. Veal is eaten in many places. But to put it bluntly, sheep are sheep. A female is a ewe. And the older sheep is often referred to as mutton, a type of tough meat. Often eaten in China, and there were many places that would sell mutton, or they would put the mutton into a hot pot and boil the mutton.
And as Saturino says, yes, lambs are associated with Easter. They are.
Which, of course, is next Sunday.
Chocolate, of course, is associated with Easter. That's the main thing.
Although, to be honest with you, Steve, chocolate is associated with every moment of my life, to be honest.
That's true.
To be honest.
Easter eggs, of course. But yes, lambs are often seen depicted on cards that you might send to family members. Talking about Easter, you might, of course, have a little chick on there, and an egg. But lambs, yes, they're often associated with Easter because they're around at this time of the year.
Yes.
In many countries.
Yes. It's a kind of, I suppose, really springtime, because I believe there are some celebrations taking place as well with other religious festivals today as well. I believe there is also the Harvest Festival as well taking place. So I would imagine this time of year that there are many things that happen as festivals, because of course rebirth, the things coming out to life once again, it's all very inspirational when you think about it. So I would imagine that's one of the reasons why springtime is always an exciting time of year. It's also one of my favourite seasons as well.
Yeah, Lewis points out the word mouton is the French word for sheep. But it's certainly the word that we're taught to use to describe a sheep in French, a mouton,
Yeah.
which of course is very close to mutton. So there's always these connections between words in different languages.
Yes. Very good, Steve.
So thanks for the question, Nilo. Hope we've answered that for you.
That's good.
What's a male sheep called? Do we know?
A male sheep. No, well, normally it might be referred to as a ram.
Yes, a ram. That's it.
Yes. for
There's a good name for you. A ram.
For various reasons. It also happens to be the thing they enjoy doing. What? Mr. Duncan, I can't believe you said that. Mr. Steve, we've got to move on.
The word mutton, I was going to say mutton, is often used is a derogatory word.
Is it?
To describe an old female person.
Okay.
Or a phrase mutton dressed up as lamb is often a phrase that is used to describe somebody who is not very attractive,
Oh, God.
but who wears clothes to try and make them look more attractive than they actually are. They might be overweight, they might have... They might not be very attractive. So often you describe somebody who is trying to make themselves look more attractive than they are with clothes and jewellery. You often describe them as mutton dressed as lamb.
Yeah.
It's a phrase that it's not a nice phrase, but it's something you can use if you want to laugh at somebody who is,
or if you want to get a slap round the face.
Yes.
Look
at her.
If you want
That's
a woman,
mutton dressed as lamb. That is.
Steve. All right, I think you've made your point.
I'm just explaining it. You see.
Can I say that's also quite offensive? So I'm very sorry.
Well, it's not it's. I would say it's not nice.
No. So when an ugly woman, as Mr. Steve put it, is trying to make herself look not so ugly, we say that she is mutton dressed as lamb.
Yeah, if she's wearing clothes that are inappropriate to her, that you would normally see on somebody who is maybe a lot younger, a lot more attractive. Particularly when older women try and make themselves look younger by wearing certain clothes. I mean, you could then. It's a phrase that people would use.
I'm just enjoying watching you dig this hole.
No, I'm just. We're not judging. We're just explaining English. That's a phrase. Mutton dressed as lamb.
Okay.
I'm sure that in your countries you have similar expressions for that particular to describe that particular occurrence.
Okay. I hope we haven't offended anyone, and if we have...
Well, we're not accusing anyone of being mutton dressed as lamb.
If you have, you can come to Paris and you can slap Mr. Steve's face personally. I will let you do that. It will be absolutely no problem whatsoever. Mr. Steve, a lot of people recently, you may have noticed, a lot of people have been talking about the environment. Have you noticed?
The environment.
The environment.
Environment.
A lot of people have been talking about it. One of the big concerns that people have at the moment with the environment is the amount of waste taking place. And I thought it would be interesting to have a quick look at some words and phrases connected to that actual subject, the subject of waste. And there it is. You can see it now on the screen. I will just make a slight adjustment to Mr. Steve. You don't have to change anything, Steve. I will move you over. I
felt the earth move, Mr. Duncan.
I hope that wasn't too much of a shock for you. So here we go, Steve. Waste. We often think of waste as things that are unneeded or no longer required, something that is not wanted anymore. The word waste can be used in many ways, as a noun, as a verb, and also as an adjective as well. As a verb, to use, consume, or expend thoughtlessly, carelessly, or to no avail. And that's an interesting word there, an interesting phrase. If you do something to no avail, it means it has no useful result. Very much the definition of waste as a verb. Something that is done that has no value, it has no use, it is something that is seen as being to no avail. As a verb, the losing of body mass or weight, usually followed by away. So we might describe a person who seems to be losing a lot of weight. You might say they waste away, they lose weight. And I suppose there are many reasons why this might happen, of course. It might be because they are on a diet, or of course they might be unwell as well. Something serious might be happening. As a verb, Mr. Steve, to exhaust or become tired and exhausted. Waste. Yes. Now, I was surprised. I didn't think this could be used as a verb. Maybe a person who is wasted, but waste as a verb. So maybe you might waste on the run, which means you slowly become tired. So I suppose you can use waste to mean exhausted or to become tired out after doing some exercise, maybe. Also as a verb, to ravage, or damage with no holding back. You might waste the area. So this again is being used as a verb. You are doing something to create a type of disorder or maybe destruction in some way. To destroy. You waste as a verb. So as you can already see, there are many ways of using this particular word. And we have, of course, the informal use. Quite often, gangsters will often say that they need to waste someone, to kill someone, used informally as a type of verb, to end someone's life, to kill someone. You waste them. It's not very nice, is it?
Waste, of course, is something you don't want.
Yes.
It's something unwanted. Anything like rubbish, waste is something you don't want. So in that context, then it means somebody that you want to get rid of.
It's not very nice. I don't like it. Let's take that off the screen. As a noun, the useless consumption or expenditure, to use without adequate return, used pointlessly. And I suppose this is the one that most people think of these days, isn't it, Steve, when we think of waste? And there must be many areas, many places these days where you can think of waste taking place. And of course we are using it here as a noun. Would you say, Steve?
The useless consumption. Yes, I mean the general term waste is general household waste, for example. Yes, I mean the word waste obviously has a negative connotation to it, that in some way it could be avoidable. But of course in modern society it's very difficult to avoid throwing things away, packaging. I mean the difference between packaging old clothes, people often, instead of reusing their clothes now, they will throw them away. That's waste. Packaging from food that you buy from the shops. There's a lot of controversy around that and a lot of discussion about trying to reduce waste, particularly plastic waste.
Can I just say, Steve, in this sense, we are talking about things that are done or things that happen that have no point to them. So maybe a useless consumption of fuel in your car. Maybe you just go out.
Right.
You go out in the car and you just drive around. You're not going anywhere. Or maybe you drive all the way to your friend's house to see them. And when you get there, you find that they've also gone out.
Oh, I see what you mean, yes. So you're using something, yes, like, for example, if you drive at 80 miles an hour on the motorway instead of 70, you're wasting fuel.
Yes.
You're using more of something than you otherwise could or should do by your actions.
Yes. So the actual waste in this particular term is the thing that is being done or used needlessly.
Yes. If you are cleaning your teeth and you keep the water running, a lot of people do this, don't they? They run the water tap while they're cleaning their teeth. You could say that was a waste of water.
Yes.
It's unnecessary use of water.
Yes, but in this sense we're using it as a noun. So the thing is waste.
That's it, the useless consumption of something. So
That's it.
if you had your tap running, that would be the same thing, wouldn't it?
That's it. So that water that has run away is just waste. You've wasted that water. It has run away.
You can waste time.
Yes.
Can't you? Sitting in front of the television, a lot of people might say it's a waste of time. You can do something at work, can't you? Spend a lot of effort in doing something and then it comes to nothing. There's no... You could spend a lot... For example, I could spend a lot of time driving to go and see a customer, and then when I get there, they've decided to take a day's holiday or gone off sick and not told me. I would say, what a waste of time that was.
Yes.
I've driven all that way, wasted fuel, I've wasted my time. So yes, it's an unnecessary use of something. Time is often used, of course, as an example of a resource that we have a limited amount of.
It's
don't
true.
We? And wasting it maybe... It depends on your point of view. Some people would think that watching certain programs on television, like soap operas, was a waste of time.
Yes.
Other people might see that as entertainment.
Yes.
Or relaxation.
That's it. So I think in some cases it's subjective, I suppose. As a noun, the decay or gradual destruction or the decline of something, waste and decline. So again, we are stating the appearance of something, but not as an adjective. You are just saying the general state, the condition, the decay or gradual destruction, the decline of something. For example, we can say waste and decline. So in that sense, maybe a certain thing appears or is in the state of being less. It is wasting away. It is waste. So in that sense, we are also using it as a noun. The actual thing no longer needed or of no use to anyone. Some people say that about me. A thing that is no longer needed, no longer used, or maybe it is seen as useless, the actual thing. For example, I suppose the most common one is industrial waste. We often think of that, don't we?
Yes. So if you're mining for something, then often when you've extracted what you want from the material, like the rock, there will be waste associated with that, something that's left over that nobody needs. I mean, if you're, for example, let's take iron, for example, you then you will mine for the iron ore, but then when you've taken the iron out of the rock that the iron is contained within, you'll have all this waste rock left over. The oil industry, of course, there's always a bit of waste there, isn't there? Because once you've refined out what you need, they the gas is often burnt, isn't it?
Yes.
You see that on these oil fields, the gas burning, wasted into the air. And somebody mentioned here Nilo, wastewater. Wastewater is just water that you use that's wasted for something. It could again in the mining process. You need to wash all the iron ore or whatever the ore is, and all that water goes into the surrounding land and causes pollution. Wastewater is often used to describe the water that comes from sewerage. That's called wastewater.
Yes, or even in biology, waste with our own bodily functions. Waste is what comes out the other end. All the lovely, juicy, delicious food goes in here, and all the horrible stuff comes out the other end, and that is generally described as waste.
Yeah, wastewater is another term really for sewerage, you would say, and most of that, of course, ends up in treatment plants or goes into rivers.
Yes, and sometimes into the ocean.
A lot of industrial waste, of course, if you're dealing with unscrupulous companies,
Yes.
instead of processing their waste, they will put it into the local river and cause pollution.
Naughty. As a noun, we can also have refuse. Now, I always think that's an interesting word, refuse, because it also can be pronounced as refuse, which I always find interesting. The word refuse is another word for rubbish, things that are unwanted or things that have to be disposed in some way. So we generally talk about waste that is there for disposal. And again, in our modern world, we have a lot of waste to get rid of, namely cardboard, paper, boxes, and of course we can't talk about this without talking about the big one, the big problem, plastic, which of course we see almost everywhere. A person who always throws things away or throws a thing away, even if they are still useful, could be described as wasteful. And I think this goes back to what you were saying earlier, Steve, about a person being wasteful with water or with anything really.
Yes, a wasteful person is somebody that doesn't get the full use out of something before they throw it away. Somebody that might get bored with something and throw it away. Wasteful. Somebody that is just somebody that doesn't get the full use out of something.
Yes.
That other people might. It's a very different mindset now that people have about waste, about recycling, about reusing things. If we go back to my parents used to tell me a lot about how they would recycle everything. Nothing would be wasted. If somebody's collars became frayed on a shirt, they would take the collars off, turn them over and sew them back on. Or if you had children in your family, you would pass the clothes down to younger members when they no longer fitted you as a child. You would pass those things down. It's very rare that happens nowadays.
No, I think
people change their cars every 2 to 3 years.
Yes, we've got to move on slightly, Steve. Sorry about that. And a phrase that comes to mind, something that you said earlier, a waste of time. Something that is a waste of time. I hope my live stream is not a waste of time. A pointless task. Something that is futile. And again, a very nice word there, futile. Something futile is something that is done that serves no purpose. There is no useful outcome. It is futile. Something is a waste of time if it is seen as, I suppose, if it's seen as pointless.
Resistance is futile is a phrase that was used in a Star Trek, often used to indicate that if somebody is attacking you, they're trying to make you feel bad or trying to demotivate you to fight back by saying that there's no point in you trying to resist me. It's futile. It's pointless. You'll be wasting your effort by doing it.
Yes, I think so. A useless thing can be described as a waste of space. I've had that said to me many years ago. People used to describe me as a waste of space. Parents can be so hurtful, can't they? A useless thing or person. So maybe you might describe a person who is useless. They never do anything useful. You might describe them as a waste of space. You are just a waste of space. And maybe this might go back to what you said about your mother, Mr. Steve. Perhaps your mother at some point, as a child, she said to you, waste not, want not, keep and save.
Yes, that phrase means if you don't throw things away, you won't be lacking in anything. And I mean, that's sort of our philosophy. One of my sort of philosophies in life is I like to buy something of good quality and then keep it for as long as possible until I don't like to replace things until they wear out. It makes me feel guilty. It makes me feel as though I'm wasting resources somehow.
Yes,
that's why I like to buy a car and keep it for many, many years.
Yes.
Because by doing that, it means that you're not stimulating the production of a new car somewhere, and thus you're not using up the Earth's resources quite as quickly as you otherwise would do.
So this is a good expression that we use to mean keep and save. Economically, you live your life economically, so you are not wasting things. It is a reminder to not waste things that still have some sort of use. And of course, there are many places where you can put your waste. You can put it in a waste bin. We often use the term waste bin in this country, or we often say dustbin in British English. In American English, of course, they say trash can. So they would describe waste or rubbish as trash. So the trash can is where they put their rubbish. And of course, Steve, if you have a lot of things to throw away, you might have to use a large container called a skip. Skip is a very large container. And in American English, they often refer to it as a dumpster, which is, I don't know why, it always makes me laugh.
There's a couple of people. Haste makes waste.
Oh, that's a good one.
Jimmy from Hong Kong. That's a very good phrase. Haven't heard that phrase for a while. Haste makes waste. Yes, if the implication there is if you're rushing to do something, you might waste something. So yeah, that is a common expression. I wouldn't say it was used that commonly, but it's certainly a phrase I've heard of.
It is good to remind you that sometimes when you are needing to do something quickly, quite often you will also waste things at the same time.
Because you'll make mistakes. I think that's what's happening with that phrase, isn't it?
Yes.
If you rush something, you make mistakes, and therefore you might waste something.
Yes.
Trying to think of an example there. If you were...
Well, maybe if you're trying to make a cake too quickly, you're trying to put the recipe together very fast, and then you put it in the oven, and it doesn't turn out. It's awful. You forgot
because you were rushing. You forgot to put some key ingredient in, like sugar.
So then you have to throw all of that away and start again. So haste creates waste. I think that
we've got a couple of people on we haven't seen for a while. JC Geordie and Connell.
It's
So hello to both of you.
nice to see you back.
Nice to see you both. Litter bin, yes. We use the word litter bin.
Yes,
But
litter. Now, litter is used as both a noun and a verb. So you can litter the streets. That means you throw things around randomly. Litter. And of course, litter is the actual waste.
which is generally paper waste, isn't it? Litter
Yes.
is generally referred to as paper waste.
So maybe you're walking through the park one day and there are people throwing litter on the ground.
Packaging from something, leaflets. Yes, if you're a litterer, somebody that litters, which you can get fined for, of course, it means that you've maybe throwing a tissue away or some wrapping around some sweets or
Yes.
something.
We often describe that person as a litter bug.
A litter bug, yes.
They are a person who is very naughty. And of course, quite often with waste these days, we have to reuse waste in some form. We like to recycle and reuse things, which it can happen. Maybe you have something that you no longer need, maybe an item of clothing that you can pass on to someone else. So recycle can be either using something again, or maybe you take that thing and you use it to make another thing, such as paper and cardboard. And of course, quite often these days, Steve, plastic is also often recycled as well. So I think it's an interesting topic. It certainly is something that a lot of people do talk about. They like to talk about recycling around here. Now, I have a feeling sometimes people become a little bit too obsessed with recycling, if I was honest with you. I think sometimes we become a little too obsessed with recycling stuff. I think so. Steve, we only have 15 minutes left.
We have not been wasting time today.
No, we've certainly had a lot to talk about today.
Time has flown.
It has. It's gone by very quickly. And of course, I thought today we will finish with the game that we've started about 3 weeks ago now, maybe even a month ago. I think it may be about a month ago we started this. It is the game that everyone loves to play. You have to guess the picture idiom. Guess the picture idiom is here again, and all you have to do is say what you see on the screen. I will show you an image, and all you have to do is tell me what that phrase is. Which phrase does it actually relate to? That's all you have to do.
Yes, look at what the picture's telling you, and then think of an idiom that matches it.
Yes. It's normally in the form of a clue. So it is a clue to the actual phrase. Here's the first one, Mr. Steve. Let's see how many people get this one right. Oh, interesting. Now, I think this is easy. I was accused last week of making them too difficult. So this week, I'm trying to make them easy.
You were up all night putting these together, Mr. Duncan.
I spend so much time these days making lessons, writing lessons, making things for this live stream. My whole life now has become one long English lesson, to be honest with you. So this is a well-known expression. This might be used when we are talking about a certain situation or a certain issue, and maybe you are talking about something that might be more serious than it appears. Maybe something that is worse than it appears. Or maybe if there is more to something than actually meets the eye. I wonder if anyone will get this right. We've got Christina with a guess, a very nice guess. Thank you very much for your guess. Palmyra as well, thank you very much for your guess. So this is a very well-known expression, Steve, that we use when we are talking about something, maybe a thing that is serious, but you've only just started to uncover all of the details about that particular thing. Oh, I think we have one or two correct answers coming through. Oh,
I think we do.
Very nice. So as I said, in a situation where something appears and maybe it is more serious than it would actually seem to be, we can use this actual expression. I will give you the answer in a moment. I wonder if anyone else has any ideas. So now you can see, all you have to do is look at the picture, and somewhere in that picture there is a clue giving you the actual expression. Here is the answer coming up right now. Are you ready for it? Oh, yes, we have some. We have some answers.
Thank you, Chris, for your suggestion. I'm calling you Chris for short because I can't pronounce your entire name.
Oh, yes, that's it. Chris Milogianu. It's a bit like Keanu, as in Keanu Reeves, I think. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Here we go then, Steve. Here is the answer. Tip of the iceberg. Something is the tip of the iceberg. So maybe there is a serious issue or something you have discovered. It's a serious thing, but maybe you've only just started to find out what that problem is. It might be much more serious than you first realise.
Yes,
would you say, Steve?
Yes, because we know an iceberg only you can only see a small part of an iceberg, can't you? That's the danger to shipping, is that you see a small piece of ice poking out of the water, but underneath that's where the majority of it is, which is why it's very dangerous.
Yes.
So if you describe something as being the tip of the iceberg, it means that there is a far bigger problem than would appear at first sight. So there could be a lot of corruption taking place in business somewhere, and one part of that is revealed. Somebody discovers something, and then somebody says, well, that's just the tip of the iceberg, meaning that there's a lot more corruption actually taking place than you can actually see. So yes, it's referring to the fact that you've discovered, or you can see one part of a problem, but there is a vast unseen amount that you can't see or needs to be revealed.
This often happens when some sort of scandal has been uncovered, and you might realise that this is just the small part of the problem, and underneath that problem goes much deeper, and there is more of it.
Yes, when we had the problem with the subprime mortgage scandal that caused the big financial crisis in 2008 and 9, there was a problem discovered with lenders lending money to people that couldn't afford to repay the loans. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. There was far bigger problem. It wasn't just a small thing that was going on. There were many lenders doing it all over the place. And of course the result of that was we had a financial crisis. But on the surface you might have only seen one or two problems, like one or two banks having problems, maybe going insolvent, but then it suddenly everybody could see the big problem, and then it became massive crash.
Mm.
So yeah, anything where you just see a little bit of it, and then you start digging a bit deeper, and underneath, it's a far bigger problem than you actually thought.
Mm. It is.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes, there is a lot more to that thing. Okay, Steve, another one. Here is the next one. I think this is also easy. I've tried to make them easy today. I keep getting told off for making them difficult. So here's another one. Are you ready for this? Just simply say what you see. Oh, say what you see.
I see a handsome man with a very fashionable 5 o'clock shadow type beard.
I think that's longer than a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, it's very popular, that style now, isn't it? To have a sort of a 3 or 4, 5 day old beard.
Mm. Yes, handsome man, handsome person. So there's three handsome men on your screen at the moment. Isn't that amazing? Here we go. Guess the picture idiom. This is a well-known phrase, a well-known expression in English. Just say what you see on the screen. I think this is quite easy, actually. I will be honest with you. I think this might be a very easy one,
So
although...
Christina was the first to get the last one, and she has revealed here that they have a similar expression in Italy.
Mm.
So I think that's probably why she got that, and Beatrice says they have that as well. Maurizio, yes, and Lewis have both come up with some suggestions.
Can
there.
I just say, Christina, that's a very good answer, by the way. A lot of people who become radio presenters, sometimes they are not very attractive people. They are not attractive people. So they might be a little unpleasant to look at. However, their voice is quite amazing when they're talking on the radio, but they might look not very attractive. We often say that they have a face for radio, which means you can't see them. So Christina, I love that. I love that expression because it's one I'm very familiar with. A lot of people used to say that about me. They used to say, Mr. Duncan, he has a face for radio.
Yes,
Meaning,
that's a bit. It's a bit like saying, yes, that's saying you're not particularly attractive.
yes,
If
that's it.
you have a face for radio, it means that that's where you should be, because nobody wants to look at you because you're not very attractive.
Yes.
So that person, that person on that screen there would be described as somebody who doesn't have a face for radio, because they're far too attractive to be not seen.
Although we don't generally use the opposite.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
So I wonder if we're going to get any answers here. I don't think we haven't had any correct ones yet, and I'm very surprised. See, I thought this was quite easy.
Maurizio's come up with a very good one. Music for my ears. Yeah, that definitely would fit.
Yeah. So
music to my ears, which of course means it's something that you really like.
Yes. Something that you waited to hear, or maybe some good news. So something you hear that you were waiting for and you are excited by. Oh, that is music to my ears. Although this isn't it. This is not that one, unfortunately. I think, again, I will have to give the answer. But it's okay because it is, once again, a very...
It's a well-known one, is it, Mr. Duncan?
Very well-known.
So we've got an attractive... Is the sex of the person, is that relevant?
The gender is not relevant.
The gender is not relevant.
I will have to give the answer, unfortunately.
Go on, then.
Here it comes. Are you ready for the answer? The answer is...
Face the music.
Ah, you see? Face.
Oh, Christina got it.
Oh.
Christina got it. She just snuck in there.
Are you sure?
At the last minute, yes. Because if it's written on the screen, then as you say it, then but with the delay, Christina must have.
I know.
So well done. Christina's got two out of 2.
Yes. Good.
Of those.
I was getting worried then. But I thought that was quite a good one. Yes, face the music. But what does it mean? Well, face the music means you have to face your punishment or the outcome of something. You must accept the punishment for something you've done. Would you say, Steve?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Face the music. It's a sort of a not a too serious term.
I think it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
if somebody says you're going to face the music, yes, the consequences aren't absolutely dire, I would say. Face the music. Yes, you've done something wrong. Maybe you're a child and you've spilt your drink all over the floor.
Okay.
And your parents say, right, you're going to face the music for that.
Yes, I'm not.
Take your punishment.
Maybe at work you've said something that has upset one of your work colleagues, and then the next day when you go into work, the boss is waiting for you. You have to go into his office and face the music. So it's that sort of thing. You have to accept, or you have to deal with the outcome of something you've done which is wrong or naughty.
Let's face the music and dance.
Something like that.
It's a popular song, I think, from, I don't know, the 1950s or something.
Okay, that's good. So that is it for today. I think we will leave it there because we are coming up to 4 o'clock. So we have just played the game that everyone loves to play along with. And wait there, Steve. It's a segue. I know. Steve always gets very excited, you see. That's the problem. You were saying, Steve.
Well, if I interrupt you, you see, in the live streams, I will have to face the music later.
You will.
From Mr. Duncan. He will punish me for interrupting him in the live stream.
And my punishment is always harsh. So that's it. We've come to the end, Mr. Steve.
Come to the end. It's gone very quickly. We have not wasted a moment to help teach you English today. I hope you would agree.
I don't think this has been a waste of time. Would you say it has been a waste of time? I would say definitely not. Anyway, it's almost time to go. Thank you very much, Mr. Steve. I suppose the big question is, are you with us next week? Because it's Easter Sunday.
Oh, I shall definitely be here, Mr. Duncan.
I will be here because I will be waiting for my big Easter egg. I can't wait.
Well, let's see if that comes. Well, if you're good to me this week, Mr. Duncan, I might buy you an Easter egg.
Oh, okay then. That's a deal. I will be on my best behaviour.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, and goodbye to you all. Enjoy learning some English this week, and I look forward to seeing you all again next Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
To Mr. Steve. And there he goes. I have to say, I really did need Mr. Steve today to take care of me because my poor voice, I don't know what was actually going on, if I was honest with you. I think it is all connected to my hay fever, sadly. Anyway, I'm back next week, to be honest with you. I'm also with you on Wednesday, hopefully. I will keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully my voice will be working on Wednesday. And of course, don't forget to look out for my new lessons. There will be lots and lots of new lessons coming your way. Look out for those as well. Thank you for your company. I am going to drink some water and have something to eat because, to be honest with you, I am also a little bit peckish as well. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English, saying thank you very much for watching. See you later. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Take care of yourselves. Stay happy, stay safe, and ta-ta for now. See you on Wednesday, and look out for those new lessons.